Let's go to New York. Leila Amineddoleh is adjunct professor of law at New York University. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
I'm happy to join you. Thank you.
And you actually teach courses on art crime. So this is cogent. First off, your reaction to the latest arrests and, yeah, the absence of jewels.
So I'm optimistic that some of the people involved in this theft have been caught early on, because the longer that the more time that goes by that the thieves are not captured and that evidence isn't gathered, the more likely it is that the works will leave the vicinity, will move farther outside of France, and that evidence will be lost, and then also that the pieces will be dismantled. So the faster that the investigators can work, then the more likely it is that objects will be recovered. And hopefully the works have not been dismantled at this time. But I think it's really a positive sign that the majority of people involved in this theft, or who we think the majority of the people are, that they are being investigated and questioned.
Yeah, this is a number of people now. This is not just one person walking in and taking a canvas off a wall. And so as a result, what does that tell you? What kind of a crime syndicate can it be?
Well, clearly it's a very well planned out theft. The thieves knew which windows to use, which balconies to access, ones that didn't have the proper security, the ones that didn't have the proper camera footage being recorded. So it was planned out well. Often when these thefts take place, they are by a gang. They're usually not the glamorous thefts that we see in films with beautiful movie stars engaged in acrobatics, but rather involve violence and involve gangs that then take property and circulate it on the black market. People that don't necessarily love the objects and their cultural value and their historic value, but rather take the objects for their raw materials to sell and make money on the black market or use to trade for other black market objects. What we know so far, as you mentioned, about the individuals involved with the theft is that they do have background in crime, whether it be petty crime or minor crimes. They are people who are involved in the criminal world.
Now, it would be a lot easier for them, as has been done numerous times before, to ram a car or truck into one of the big jewelry stores, Place Vendôme. Why hit the Louvre?
Perhaps the museum was easier to strike. You see the museum that had some construction occurring at the time, easier access into a second floor window. These institutions
Easier than
sometimes
hitting a
don't
jewelry
have
store.
as much. Excuse me?
Easier than hitting a jewelry store.
Perhaps these cultural institutions have limited budgets for security, and as we know, the second floor balcony was vulnerable. The thieves knew that, and they knew to access that area. And when you think about the Louvre as well, it's such a huge building with so many square feet and so many access points. I think it might be easier to hit a museum than a jewelry store with access through one door and one main showcase window. So I think the museum may have been easier to target,
Now,
unfortunately.
the Interior Minister interviewed on Wednesday hinted that perhaps there could be foreign players at work, but then he didn't elaborate on that. These criminal syndicates, what are the chances that they're French or that they're foreign or that it simply just doesn't matter?
I don't think it really matters. There are people who clearly wanted to steal French heritage and world heritage from a museum. And I don't have any insights. I haven't heard anything about whether it was a more local gang or whether it was somewhere else in Europe or even an international gang from Asia or Americas or Africa. So I really don't have anything to say about the origin of the gang.
Now,
And
you
I
wrote,
think that the French investigators are keeping that quiet, right, as they continue on with their investigation in hopes of questioning all the individuals involved in this crime.
yeah, they're not revealing all. Leila, you penned a piece for The Conversation, which you said it's going to be hard to pass these pieces on.
Yeah. So one of the things about jewels and why I think the jewels were targeted in this really cinematic, dramatic kind of heist is jewels are easier to dismantle and to put on the market. They can be dismantled, taken from their context. They can be cut down, reshaped, put in different settings, and then just placed on the market with unscrupulous dealers. The same is not true for fine art. Fine art, once you steal something that's recognizable, you absolutely do not want to cut it down. You don't want to change it because that original work with that original attribution, something that's authentic and viewed with value on the art market, you cannot alter. And the really worrisome thing about when thieves steal jewels, objects made of precious metals to melt down, is that those works unfortunately are harder to find and they're more likely to be altered quickly and then put on the market. And actually, statistics show a growing number of these kinds of heists where jewels are targeted and metals are targeted rather than fine art.
Increasing number. Quick final question for you, Leila Amineddoleh. What's the question that your students have fielded to you that's kind of got you wondering?
We've had I had so many great questions from students, from colleagues, other attorneys. I'm an art lawyer, and a lot of my colleagues have asked this: when are these pieces going to show up again? When do they typically show up after a theft? And unfortunately, these pieces may be gone for years. They may show up if they remain in their completed state. They probably won't show up for years to come. If they're dismantled, they might already be on the market. But what gives me hope, and what I've mentioned to many people who've asked me about this theft, is that other institutions have been successful in recovering stolen works. There was a very well known art theft or jewel theft at the Green Vault in Dresden, in Germany. And I think about a year after the theft, most of the jewels were recovered after the thieves cooperated with authorities and provided information about other members of the syndicate. So hopefully that happens here. I hope the questioning is going well, is proceeding well with the French authorities, and hopefully these works can be recovered. And at that point, I hope they are protected better with better security throughout the entire museum.
Indeed,